All right. Last time we talked, we were just getting into kind of the idea of what is subtraction with bigger numbers. And we said that in order to do that, you have to have the bigger number on the top to subtract the smaller number from the bottom. Now, today we're going to get into the idea of how can we actually do these subtraction problems, and we want to really work on being accurate. We don't want to skip any of the steps. All right, so let's start with on page number 159. I think you can see it right down here, 159. Find that page, and on the top it says subtract 3-digit numbers. Now we're actually going to do 2 lessons today because we're going to talk about subtracting 3-digit numbers. We're also going to do 4-digit numbers because they're exactly the same. Just 4-digit numbers take a little longer. They're not more difficult, they just take longer. So we'll kind of work on those 2 things. Now, the first part is I want you to kind of look at this question. This question says, how many more sheets of craft paper does Will have than Lisetta? Now we're going to have to use this over here, and we have to realize that the 2 people involved are Will and Lisetta. All right. So now that we know that, I want you to look at this part. How many more sheets? Because whenever we have a word problem and it asks you something about how many more or how many fewer, whenever it's a comparison of 2 things, that means you are going to subtract one number from the other number. And here comes a cat. Okay. There's a little cat math. Hope you enjoy. Hey, Mel, you got to go. I'll leave that in there for you because that was kind of funny. All right, but anytime, now get back to what we were thinking of. I know that was distracting. Anytime there's a comparison, it means that you're going to subtract. Here's why. Lisette has 79, right? I'm going to make a picture of Lisette's stack of papers. Okay? There, oh my goodness gracious. There's the cat again. There's the stack for Lisette. Will has 265. Now his stack is going to be a whole bunch bigger, isn't it? Okay, there's his stack. It wants us to compare them and tell us how many more does Will have. So basically what we have to do is we have to say, well, Lisette has this much compared to Will, right? If this was a big stack of paper. And then all these papers on top would be how many more Will has. So in order to do that, I'm going to take all of hers and I'm going to take them out of his stack. That'll give me how much is left. Notice I said take them out. That's what subtraction is. It's removing things, isn't it? So anytime you see how many more, how much fewer, or anytime there's a comparison thing, we are going to subtract. That's a good thing to remember for those word problems. Okay, now let's get to actually doing it. First, we have to realize that we're going to take his amount and we're going to take her amount from it, just like we did in the picture. This wants us to do a little quick estimating, and I like how they did this, except I would do it just a little bit different with a cat, not on my paper. I would actually say, let's take 300, and I would actually make my 79 into an 80. That's just personally how I would do it. I don't mind how they do it because that sure makes that easy, doesn't it, with 200? But I would kind of do it this way because that's closer to 80. So that would be a 0. Now this makes it a little bit harder because it's kind of like I have to take 30 and take 8 away, which not everybody would realize is 22. Okay, so that's why this is easier. That's a little more accurate. Okay, both of them hopefully are good estimates. All right, now let's get down to the actual subtracting. Here's they rewrote it, 265 minus 79. Now the very first thing we have to realize is that we have to take 5 and subtract 9. If you think the answer is going to be 4, think again, because that would be 9 subtracting 5. And there's no commutative property in subtraction. I can't just flip my numbers around. They have to be in a particular order. So here's what I have to do to start with. I have to realize this 5, I can't take 9 away from it. So I have to fix that problem. So I'm going to go over here to the 6. And I'm going to take 1 away from the 6 and leave it with 5 tens. Now, because I took away a group of 10, notice I'm going to have my 5 ones plus the 10 ones that I'm putting with it. So that'll leave me with a 15 in the ones place. If I take 15 minus 9, I know that that's 6. So there's my first step. In order to do this subtraction, I had to regroup. Now let's go over here. Here's where we left off. 5 minus, I'm sorry, here's the regrouping that we did up top. Okay, so that's kind of like we scratched those off over here, didn't we? Okay. 5 minus 7. Now again, I can't do it. 5 is too small to take 7 away from. So I'm going to take my 2, take one group from it, and then move that group of 10 over here. So it's basically I'm taking 10 tens, which is 100, away from it. So that's going to give me 15 over here. 15 minus 7 should give me 8. And then now 1 minus nothing is just 1. So I should have 186 as my answer. Okay. Now, this one is going to be the checking that they're going to do, where they're going to say, well, what if we take these numbers and we get 186? If I do it in the reverse order or the inverse operation, I'm going to take 186 plus the 79, and I should equal the top number. Let's see if it works. 9 plus 6 is 15. This 1 and this 7 make an 8. So now I have a double 8, which is 16. And then 1 and 1 is 2. 265. Okay, so that's pretty good. It's also close to my estimate of 200, 186. So I like that. Okay, that Will is going to have 186 more sheets of craft paper. Now, that's the basic idea behind subtracting like that. Now, in order to do some of this, I want you to skip ahead because it's a little bit easier, I think, without all the crazy boxes. So skip ahead to page 160. And on page 160, I'm actually going to do a little bit of a sneak in here a little bit. All right. On page 160 at the bottom here, I want you to see how they're using the boxes down here with me one time. All right. Let me move that out of the way. All right. So here we have 4 minus 7. First thing I have to check is, can I take 7 away from a 4? And my answer is no, I cannot. So I'm going to come next door and I'm going to say, hey, I need to borrow one of yours. Now he only has one. So now he's going to be left with nothing, isn't he? Now my 4 is going to have a 10 and those 4. So it's going to be 14. Now I can subtract. 14 minus 7 is 7. Every time I can subtract, I'm going to go ahead and subtract. Now I'm going to move along. There's a 0 here, and I'm taking 5 away. Well, I can't take 5 away from a 0. Now watch carefully how we do this. I'm going to go next door to the 6, and he's going to give me 1 from him. That leaves him with 5. Notice I have to make sure I go down exactly by 1 when I take 1 away. 6 becomes a 5. This 0, I'm going to give a group of 10 to it, and since it had 0 before, now it's exactly 10. So I'm going to take my 10, subtract 5, and that'll leave me with 5. All right. Then I have to come over here. The 6 changed to a 5, so I'll take my 5 minus the 4. That leaves me with 157. Now let's check to see if that's right. I'm going to take my answer of 157 and I'm going to add to it the minuend, or I'm sorry, the subtrahend, which is this number 457. And when I add those together, I should get 614, which was my minuend to start with. Okay, so here we go. 7 and 7 is 14. I'll regroup my 1. 5 and 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. Regroup one more, 4, 5, and 6. Yep, 614, 614. It worked out. Okay, I'm going to do a couple more like that with you, and then I'm going to kind of just send you off on your own with the assignment. All right, so let's do, let's do this guy over here, number 3. Okay, now remember, the first thing I do is I check to see if I can do this, because here's another common mistake. Now that I showed you that you're going to regroup, some people do this. They automatically go quick, quick, and they regroup. Well, if you look closely at this one, do I need to regroup? Let's check first. 7 minus 3. Can I take 3 away from 7? I can. Hey, I don't even have to regroup. So be sure that you don't just start regrouping like crazy. You got to check to see if you need to. Maybe they're going to make this problem really easy and we don't even have to regroup. Wouldn't that be awesome? Let's see. 7 minus 3, 4. Okay, 8 minus 5. Can I do that? Yeah, I can take 5 away from an 8. That leaves me with 3. Hey, we haven't had to regroup yet. Let's check this last one. 6 minus 3. Oh my goodness, we didn't have to regroup, did we? Because I can take 3 away from 6, and it leaves me with 3. All right, good deal. We didn't even have to regroup. So that makes the problem a lot easier. Now we can check it. Let's take our 334 that we got as our answer, and let's add the 353 and see what happens. 4 plus 3 is 7, 3 plus 5 is 8, and 3 and 3 is 6. 687, 687. They match. All right, very good. All right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to do number 4, pause this, do number 4, and then unpause it to watch me do it to see if you did the right thing. All right, go ahead and pause it. All right, hopefully you're done. And here's what you would have come up with. 7 minus 4. I hope you didn't just crazy regroup, because look, I can take 4 away from 7. 7 minus 4 leaves me with 3. Okay, maybe this is going to be like this one. There's no regrouping. Let's find out. 7 minus 9. If I have 7, can I take 9 away from it? No, I can't. The 9's too big, isn't it? So I need to go and regroup from this 1 over here. If I take 1 away from this, I hope you realize that that leaves you with nothing. That's a 0 now. And then I put the 1 in front of the 7 because it's basically a 100 going in there with a 10. All right, so this is kind of like saying it's 170 minus 90, except we're going to ignore these zeros and just do it as 17 minus 9. Okay, 17 minus 9 will leave me with 8. So I think, and then this is going to be a 0. I can write the 0 in there if I want, but that's kind of you don't really need it, do you? So let's not even bother writing a 0 in there. That way it's just 83. Well, let's check it. Let's do 83 plus 94. 4 plus 3 is 7. 8 plus 9 is 17. Regroup the 1 if I need to. 177. Look at that. It matched up. I hope yours matched up too. Okay. All right. Now, sometimes you're going to have to rewrite these on your own. And it's very important that you know how to take it from this direction to the stacked up direction. So let's go ahead and let's do this one right here. Okay, 267 minus 178. This is going to be our minuend. It's going to be on top. And now I'm going to take away 178. That's our subtrahend. It goes on the bottom. Now, some people like to put the little lines in between, and that's fine. You can totally do that if it's going to help you stay lined up. It's very important that you write it neatly, though, so you can be lined up. All right, let's have you write it neatly like that. Pause this and try it, and then come back. So go ahead and pause it. All right, hopefully you are done, and let's see how you did. 7 minus 8. That 8 is too big. I can't take 8 away from a 7. So I'm going to have to come over here, and I'll regroup from that 6. Now that 7 will become a 17. 17 minus 8 is going to be 9. 5 minus 7. I can't do 5 minus 7. The 7 is too big. So let's come over here. The 2 becomes a 1. We're taking 1 from it. And then the 5 will become a 15. Sorry, I'm writing up into there. I should have moved everything down, huh? I need a little space up there. 15 minus 7 is going to be 8. 8, 9, and then 1 minus 1 is 0, but I don't have to write the 0 because it's nothing. So it should be 89. Now, I could do the addition problem, couldn't I? I could do 89 plus 178, and it should equal the 267, right? 9 and 8 is 17. 1 and 7 is 8 plus 8 is 16. And then 2 ones make 267. Look at that. We did it right. All right. Now, if we jump ahead to lesson 6, up here it says subtract 4-digit numbers. But I just want to show you something. Subtracting 4-digit numbers, if you jump ahead to page 167, find that one. Subtracting 4-digit numbers, there's nothing different about it because it just means I have to subtract one more time. Watch me do this one. If you want to do it first and then watch, that's fine. That'd be a good idea. Okay, if you want to pause it, do it, and then come back. All right, if you did it, hopefully you're done, and let's see what I did. 5 minus 7. Well, I can't do that because 7 is too big. So let's regroup from over here. Now, that becomes a 15. 15 minus 7 is 8. 6 minus 6. Can I take 6 away from 6? I actually can. It just means that I'm left with nothing, right? How about 4 minus 2? Can I take 2 away from 4? Yes, I can. That leaves me with 2. 3 minus 1. Can I do that? Yeah, I can take 1 away from 3. That leaves me with 2. And then if I check it, I take my 2,208, which was my difference, and I add it to my subtrahend, which is 1,267, and hopefully my minuend, 3,475, will be my answer. 8 plus 7 is 15. Regroup 1. 6 plus 1 is 7. 2 and 2 is 4. And 2 and 1 is 3. 3,475. 3,475. Hey, it works. All right, now I'm going to give you your assignment. And I'm not going to make you do double assignment on this because it's all kind of the same thing, whether it's 3 numbers or 4 numbers. So I would like you to do as your assignment pages 169 and 170. All right. On 169, this one says, do the subtraction. Now they've got all the little spots where you're going to have to do a little regrouping, and then here's where your answers will go in. And then here, when it says check, it means take your difference and your subtrahend, add them together, and see if you get the minuend, the first number you started with. Okay, so show me that checking over here. All right, then next page is going to be virtually just like that. You're going to do the problem, check it with addition. Do this problem, check it with addition. Do this problem, check it with addition. Here, you have to subtract, but you have to nicely write everything in to be able to do the problem. So fill it in and then write the answer here, because the question mark is the unknown. So what's the unknown? Write it in there. Okay. And you'll do that for those three. Then you have a couple of word problems and then a multiple choice. All right. I think you'll be able to do just fine on those. Take your time and do your best.